Yo guys, what's up? It is Ripe again, back with episode 69 of our Reddit series, and I hope you're ready to get annoyed at some entitled people. But before you do, just a quick thank you for almost 5,000 subscribers. Let's try to keep it up and reach 5,000 at the end of the week. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. Entitled woman thinks that I am too old for toys and her kid needs it more than me. Background: I have Asperger's and sensory processing disorder. And because of that, I carry in my bag some toys and a small plush toy, which I use for stimming. It was about a month after someone lit my house on fire, and that was the first time I went out alone after that. PS: English is not my native language, and this is only a translation of the dialogue, and I may not remember it exactly, because it was kinda a long time ago. The cast is EW, entitled woman, C for child, and NB for nice boy. I went for shopping because I lost most of my notebooks and my mom wanted me to buy some things she needed. So first I went to the supermarket, but it was too loud for me. My headphones broke, so I took my plushie out. Nobody was reacting to it because in my town there's a lot of disabled/autistic children and teenagers. I was pushing my cart while hugging my plush cat. A child came to me and said, "See, nice cat, can I play with it?" I don't really like when someone touches my stuff, so I told her, "Oh, I'm sorry, but no, I need that cat and I cannot just give it to you." C went somewhere and I was happy that I don't have to talk to anyone until I finished shopping. But I was wrong. C came back with her mom, who I will call EW, and this is the dialogue that followed. C: "Here, this is that girl that I told you about." EW:
"Why didn't you give C this toy? She really wants to play with it."
Me: "Sorry miss, but I cannot. I really need it because I..." EW didn't let me finish.
"I don't care about that. Just give the toy to C. She needs it more than you."
She tried to take the cat from my hand. Me: "Stop it, you will ruin it." EW:
"It won't break if you give it to me. You don't need that, you just want it. You're a teenager, not a child."
She was literally just yelling at me and I was really close to a meltdown. I had problems breathing properly and my head was hurting. I did not have enough strength to do anything and tell anything. She just ripped the plushie out of my hands, and then the nice boy NB came to that aisle and saw me crying at that moment. C holding my toy, he saw me taking it out earlier, and EW still shouting at me. NB: "Miss, you should return that toy to its owner." EW:
"But this stupid girl took the plushie from Z."
NB: "I don't think so. I saw her taking this cat out of her bag." EW:
"You're lying."
NB took a toy from C and asked me, "NB, are you okay?" Me: "Not really." NB: "Okay, so how about I will help you?" I nodded and he helped me to get up. He gave me a tissue and after I wiped away my tears, he gave me my toy. And because I still wasn't able to talk, I just signed, "Thank you." He smiled and walked away. I finished shopping and I went to the bus stop, and without any problems I came back to my grandparents' house. Do you know what's really interesting? In the comments, the OP of the story says that he's from Poland and he mentions that his country is basically a magnet for Karens and that those people really cannot stand autistic/disabled people. So who knows, maybe the Karens in Europe are worse than the ones in America. Entitled Karen steals reserved frames 3 times. This happened today and I've worn glasses nearly 2/3 of my life, and every summer I go in for my re-exam at the eye doctor. This week I got told, after 2 years of the same glasses, that my eyes had changed again and I needed a new set. I went to my regular place for my favorite type of frames, since I am all about comfort when wearing my frames. I go straight to my favorite sets and narrow it down to 2 frames. In this store they have these customer reserve boxes that are white and easy to carry so that you can put multiple frames on hold. I put the frames into the box holder and set it down to pick out a pair of sunglasses on the top of the rack. Enter the Karen. I glance at her from my side, but mainly I am in an ignore mode. I just want to pick out my frames and move on. She waits until I'm trying on a pair of sunglasses and literally reaches into the box and grabs both sets of frames. I quickly swap back to my regular glasses and stare at her as she smirks at me and waltzes off. Okay, annoying. She gets her husband to try them on and I just kind of wait. He obviously did not like them, so he put them back rather quickly. Annoyed but grateful, they are back, I quickly swing in and grab the pair and the sunglasses I was looking at and begin to walk back to the area where you can sit and work out measurements with a clerk. Not 2 steps away from the rack, the annoying Karen returns and blocks my path, pretending to look at the rack while complaining to the clerk, helping her. This conversation follows. Karen,
Thanks, I need these.
She literally grabs the pair again from my box. Me, excuse me, but that's twice you grabbed the pair I'm trying to look at to buy. Karen ignored me and walked off with them. Her husband shook his head and put them back. I grabbed them and immediately flagged a salesperson. He guided me to a table and I sit. After discussing it with the salesperson, I picked a pair of glasses and sunglasses. I set them in the box and he takes the one I decided not to get back while I'm putting on my regular glasses. Karen sneaks in as he is rounding to the rack and grabs the pair a 3rd time. That was it. I stood up angrily and stomped over to her husband. Me, I'm sorry sir, but I need the frames I am buying back. Husband, what? Me, this is the 3rd time that they have been grabbed out of the reserved box. I'm trying to complete my transaction and buy them. Husband, 3rd. These are the same thing? These all look alike to me. He pointed at the rack of glasses. I didn't like how they fit anyway. Me? Can I please have them back so I can finish my business? Karen.
I told you, Mike.
Fake name.
They look so good on you that you should get them.
Karen continued to ignore me like I was not there. I mean, full on ignore. What I said didn't seem to register at all. Husband. No, here you go. Sorry about this. Me, sorry you have to deal with someone who doesn't understand basic manners. I walked back to the clerk I was working with, who was confused, and handed him the frames, explaining the situation. I saw the angry Karen about to approach from behind in the mirror set up beside him. But the clerk had a friend who was purchasing glasses there and he swooped around from behind me. This friend/customer had seen the whole interaction and just glared her off, crossing his arms and swinging the seat next to me around so he could sit there and stare at her. In the meantime, while she was focused on me and the clerk's friend, her husband walked out the store, shaking his head and saying nothing to her. I get the feeling he was either running away from argument or ending it by not being there. I ignored the glare and snickered when the manager, who was running the store, informed her that her husband had left and that if she had no further business in the store, she was asking her to leave. She became irate at said husband and began loudly calling for him. But apparently he was far gone, because when she exited the store and did not see him, she had to call him on her cell. She did not return after that. The clerk told me that unfortunately, the glasses stealing from the reserved boxes happened a lot in that store. I am glad I only have to do that shopping trip maybe 1 time a year, but hopefully I can have corrective surgery soon. Fingers crossed. Ripe stars, if you have watched until here, then please post some stars in the comments. And now let's continue. Entitled Soldier. So I used to work on an army base in the shop. We sold alcohol, but only to civilians who lived/worked on the base, family members of serving members and civilians like me, and to serving members who were stationed permanently on base, who we all know and we have a list of. These rules about alcohol were not our rules, but were put in place by the camp commandant. Big boss, man in charge of everyone. Background to bear in mind: the base was a driving school and a lot of the squaddies were underage for drinking. The camp did however have several bars for various ranks: officers, non-commissioned officers, sergeants and junior ranks. Alcohol was on sale there. The rules about the shop were made clear during orientation for new squadrons that came in. Most did not bother trying, so no difficulty there. However, this would not be an entitled person story without someone trying. So characters are me, ES for entitled sergeant, P for private, S for my supervisor. So I am working my shift at the till. I see AP putting a few beers into his basket. Me, hey sorry, but we are not allowed to sell alcohol to students. P, I'm not a student. Me, oh, are you a new member of staff? I'm sorry, what's your name and rank? We have a list, I will go check. P, no, I'm not a member of staff, I'm here on the driving course. Me, so you're learning a driving course? P, yes. Me, I'm afraid that makes you a student and I cannot serve students. I'm sorry. P. Fine. Starts to strop out and leave his basket in the middle of the aisle. At this point, ES comes in, sees the tantrum and asks what's going on. P. They won't serve me, Sergeant. ES turns to me. I explain the rules on alcohol and I stress it's not about me or him, but it's the camp rules and it applies to everyone. He tells the P to put his shopping away and to apologize to me. So, is this over? No. So I thank ES and carry on faffing with stuff. Next ES comes to my till with his shopping and I notice he has wine in his basket. Me, I'm sorry sir, but the rules about alcohol apply to everyone. I cannot serve you that. ES,
But I'm a sergeant and this is wine.
Me, I'm sorry. ES,
You will serve me.
Me, I won't. The rules are quite clear and it's not worth my job. ES,
I want a drink. Don't be stupid. I want to buy my wine now.
Me, sir, if you want to take this up with the camp commandant, I can ring him for you.
Get me your manager.
ES says. S, what's going on here? I'm the supervisor. The manager isn't here, I'm afraid. Can I help? I explained the situation and my manager confirmed I could not serve him and apologized. ES,
But I'm a sergeant.
Me, 8 months pregnant and losing patience. You could be the bloody queen, mate. I'm not serving you that booze, and neither is anyone else. Unless you bring the commandant to me in person, I'm not serving you. I am also not going to put any of your items through my till either, because frankly you are pissing me off. ES. I stormed off to have my 18th weed break that hour, so I don't know what happened exactly. But I checked with my supervisor and he didn't get served with even his regular shopping that night. If you guys have any entitled military personal stories, once again, please post them in the comments. I'm very interested in hearing them. Or even better, post them on r/ripe stories on our own subreddit. Entitled Mom tries to steal my sister and my dog. Okay, so this was a while ago, probably like 4 years back, and it involved me, my older brother B, and my sister S, my dog Rufus, D, also rest in peace Rufus, love your buddy, and EM. So anyway, the story revolves around D's size. He was a Saint Bernard, and if you don't know them, they get really big, really fast. He was around 2 years old at the time and was already 170 pounds. One day me and my siblings decide to go get some ice cream at a store on the block behind our house. So we grab D and go. As we are leaving the store, ice cream digested, EM stops us. She is this weird looking blonde lady in probably her mid-50s, Botox out of her mind, pushing a stroller with like an infant or something, I don't really remember. I don't think the kid ever really did anything. She asks about our dog and we give her the usual spiel. How big he is, how he's a really good dog, yes you can pet him, blah blah blah. But when B told her he was 2 years old, EM stopped. EM,
Wait, you're telling me D is 2 years old?
B, haha yeah, he's pretty wild. EM,
I don't believe you.
B, thinking she was like joking, yeah I know, he's a Saint Bernard, they get big fast. EM, dead effing serious.
No, I don't believe you.
Me, cool, well he is, so I don't know what you want us to say. EM, turning to my sister,
Is D really 2?
Sister, yes. Now my sister is extremely shy and at the time of this she was only like 9 years old. So when she spoke it was with a lot of hesitation and very quiet. So I don't know what clicked in this lady's brain, but she must have thought that my sister was like coerced to say that. EM,
Wait, do you know these boys?
Me, I'm sorry? EM,
I'm not talking to you. Do you know these boys?
S, well yeah, they're my brothers. EM,
I don't believe you. What are you doing with this little girl?
keep in mind, I was 12 and B was like 13, so it was not at all unbelievable for us to have a 9-year-old sister. Me, what do you mean? At this point, she's starting to get pretty aggressive, moving closer to us, and me being the most confrontational of the bunch and the biggest, I was standing in the front while B was a bit to my side and S was pretty much cowering behind me. Oh, and D was just ambling, kinda standing there minding his own business.
This is a really sweet dog and very sweet girl. I don't know why they are with a bunch of liars. Now S, you can come with your dog with me and we will figure out what's really going on.
She grabbed D's leash and yanked it out of my hands. D did not really mind, as he was pretty relaxed overall and was used to people and especially little kids doing all kinds of stuff to him. Me, hey, give me my dog back. EM,
I would if he was your dog, but since you're lying about his age, he clearly isn't yours. And I'm an adult, so I will take care of him now. He will come live with me and my baby. Also, I think I need to figure out what's going on with S, since you're clearly forcing her to lie, and I don't think she even is your sister. So S is coming with me.
She grabbed S's arm, pretty hard mind you, and yanked her so hard she almost fell. Now D has been silent up until this point. And he's normally the sweetest dog you will ever meet. But he was very protective. Now if you have never heard a 170-pound dog bark a mean bark before, picture the lion roar at the start of MGM movies, but even deeper. D let out the loudest, meanest bark I have ever heard him do, and it scared EM so much she dropped both the leash and S and almost fell over. I snatched up the leash as quickly as I could. D kept barking and was pretty much raising hell. A few people came outside to look, and I think EM kinda understood her predicament. A dog standing in front of 3 young kids in a defense posture, barking in front of a grown-ass adult does not look very good for that adult. Someone even called out, "Hey, leave those kids alone!" EM grabbed the stroller, gave one last dirty look and stomped off. D stopped barking, and for the rest of his life, anytime someone wanted to see D, it was nothing short of a pleasant experience. If you ask me, that was both kidnapping and dog napping. And I think we have talked about this before in the comments, but EM could get in a lot of trouble for this. Have you ever been in a situation where someone tried to steal your pet? If you have, please tell us in the comments. Crazy racist entitled mom demands my cancer-ridden mother to give her our apartment. This story took place when I was in 8th grade, going into high school. We lived in apartments that were subsidized by Section 8, that were basically funded by grants for Project Self-Sufficiency. This basically means that we were allowed to live in the apartments as long as our guardians proved that they were going to school or had a stable job. My mother was going to school to get her GED and then went on to get her bachelor's degree after that. She was also working at the housing authority of our town and was slowly but surely working her way up. Unfortunately, it was also at this time that my mom was diagnosed with stage 2 uterine sarcoma. My mom started getting weaker after every chemo and radiation round, and eventually she got to the point where it was a struggle to get dressed. She had to start working by home, which meant she was being demoted until she could go into work again. Soon, summer started, so without school being in the way, I could help my mom with anything she needed and watch over my brother. This is when the crazy stuff starts happening. For reference, our apartment was fairly large with 2 stories on the 2nd level. There were only 2 levels on each apartment, so we only had neighbors downstairs and on the side. 2 of our downstairs neighbors were incredibly entitled, and their children were equally entitled. The one neighbor I will be referencing in this story we will call Barbara. Sorry to all the good Barbaras out there. Barbara had a little brat, about 6 to 7 years old boy, that was fueled by Doritos and Orange Crush soda that went around on his scooter and hit the apartment doors with a damn hammer. He would then ride back down, and as he was riding past the doors, he would scribble things on the doors with a purple Sharpie. He then did the same with all of the upstairs doors. Every single door in our apartment complex was vandalized with dents and Sharpie scribbles, including my own. When I saw this, I was mortified. I came out of my apartment and knocked on the apartment manager's door. She answered, and since she was good friends with my mom through their work and one of the amazing people who helped us, she knew who I was. Manager: "Hey OP, is everything okay? Does your mom need help?" Me: "Hey manager, no, everything is okay with my mom. There's a problem going on with Barbara's brat." Barbara's brat was a troublemaking kid, so this was not unheard of. She sighed and asked, "Okay, what's going on?" I then gestured her to come outside and look at the doors. She immediately noticed the dents in all the doors and the Sharpie scribbles. She was absolutely furious. The manager and I then worked our way to my unit and we knocked on Barbara's door and she answered. She swung the door open and you could hear it slam against the doorstop. She was wearing shorts and a tank top that barely kept everything in place. She had a half burnt out cigarette in her mouth. She took a long drag before she spoke. The cast is entitled Barbara, EB, Manager M, me OP, Barbara's Brett, BB, and my mother, Mom. EB.
What do you need, M?
Manager. Hello, EB. We need to discuss the actions of BB. EB.
What do you mean? He hasn't done anything. I swear if you're gonna accuse him of some act then...
Manager. EB, if you will please step outside and look at the doors, you will notice what BB did. We have a witness here telling me she saw what he was doing. EB now looking at me.
You? What could you have possibly seen? BB has been riding his scooter this whole time. He hasn't done any of this vandalism. You probably did it and blamed it on my kid.
Me? EB, why would I vandalize my own door? I then point to my door and then point back to hers. Your door is the only one that's not vandalized. I saw BB scribbling on the doors with a purple Sharpie and banging them with a hammer. EB.
That is effing ridiculous. We don't even own a hammer. You know what, I will not stand for this crap. BB, come here.
BB comes out of his room with a hammer in hand and purple Sharpie covering his hands and some is even on his face. I start to smile, that I told you so, smile. M looked at BB and then back to EB. Manager, I'm sorry EB, but we are going to have to evaluate your future with your housing. You can expect to be billed for the repair and possible replacement of the doors BB damaged. We will be in contact very soon. EB is furious. She grabs the hammer and throws it out of her apartment, then slams the door. Manager tells me that my door is not badly damaged and if I just take some rubbing alcohol, the Sharpie will come off the door. I thank her and then go home. Unfortunately, this was not the end. Not even an hour later, Barbara starts banging on my door. I look through the peephole and see her red with rage and another cigarette in her mouth. She banged again and yelled for me to open the door. My mom woke up after hearing all the commotion and she started coming downstairs. I urged her to go back to bed, but she wouldn't. She opened the door and EB tore into my mom. Midway through yelling at my mom, who was in tears by the way, she stopped and looked around my apartment. EB.
Wow, OP's mom, you live nicely up here. Why do you get a bigger house than me and EB?
Mom. EB, our family is bigger than yours, so we need more space to live comfortably. EB.
You barely have anything in here. It's almost empty. We have so much stuff, it would be so nice to have the space.
We are silent for a second, then she continues. EB.
You know what? You guys should let us move in here. You don't need all this space, and plus we can make a better use of it.
Mom, I'm sorry EB, that's not possible. We cannot just... EB.
You work for the housing authority, so you can just file an order to switch us, can't you? After all, OP has subjected me and BB to harassment and false accusations. You should really raise your children to be more upstanding and not be such liars. I don't expect anything else from wetbags.
My mother had an incredibly hard childhood and life and thus is very very timid as well as incredibly sensitive. She just stood there in tears with her hand on the wall, supporting herself from falling while taking this verbal abuse. My heart broke with every little sniff my mom made. I could not stand by any longer, so I stood up for her. Me. My mom is very sick, EB, you know that? You need to leave right now. We are not giving you our house and I did not make any false accusations towards you or your kid. Please leave us alone. EB.
How dare you? I'm an adult. I am your superior. We deserve to have a bigger house. You need to get out because this is my house now. You wetbag beaners. You're lucky I don't call ICE. You have no business being here.
I was completely caught off guard. I could not believe what was happening. I seriously felt like I was having a fever dream. I can see EB getting closer and as she's almost stepping inside the doorway, I push as hard as my 14-year-old self could, hitting EB in the face with the door. You could hear her scream and yell and tell us that she was calling the cops for assaulting her, amongst other things that I cannot be bothered to remember. I help my mom back upstairs and console her. The cops were actually called, but after talking to the apartment manager, EB and BB, as well as us, they had decided in our favor. It turns out we could actually press charges against EB and BB for vandalism and harassment. Needless to say, we did. We won our case after months of going to court and building a case against EB, and shortly after, EB was kicked out of the apartments and sentenced. I have a lot of stories from this time, so you might see some more posts from me in the near future if this post does fairly well. And if anyone is curious, OP's mom got better now as she's in remission for a few years already. So guys, that's all the content for today. Please remember to comment, like and subscribe to support me in order to get the video recommended to others. Thank you very much for your support each day, and I really appreciate every comment you write and every like you give. So I hope you have a great day, and I see you tomorrow.